With Ontario asparagus ready and at local markets and local growers, I thought a little bit of East meets Central Canada would be great. I've got Digby scallops and we've got Ontario asparagus. These scallops are going to be sweet, and when they're sauteed, they're going to be slightly crispy on the outside. And the asparagus, pan roasted, there's no need to blanch them, no need to prep them, into the pan, and they just love the heat. That little bit of bitterness from the asparagus and the sweetness from the scallops will be perfect. And then we're going to balance it out with a Chipotle mayonnaise. So the smokiness of smoked jalapenos in a mayonnaise for that creamy richness. And listen, one of the things that I cannot believe every time I look at these stalks is the fact that they are hand harvested. So every single one of these asparagus has been picked with care and then graded out by hand. So given that much care, let's make sure this recipe is a big hit. The first thing I have to do is preheat the pan for the scallops, and then I'll prep them by removing the little nerve that's just on the side. Using a good heavy bottom cast iron pan or a heavy bottom stainless steel pan is really important when you're cooking the scallops. You want to make sure to preheat it, because otherwise what you do is you start to boil the scallops. Now let's have a look and I'll show you the nerve. So there's a slight nerve, so you can see there's a beautiful scallop. I've taken them out of the refrigerator so they're ready to go. But just want to remove that little bit of connective tissue. That little piece on the side is what connects it to the shell and needs to be removed. With the pan nicely heated, it's time to go in with the butter. So don't be shy with the butter, a good tablespoon or more. And then as it begins to melt, get that all over the pan. Make sure there's a good coating. The scallops absolutely love the butter. And then a nice fine grind of sea salt and pepper. Now, this is a one-pan dish, so you could be using two pans, but what I'm going to do is, while the scallops are resting, I'll cook the asparagus, so it's actually really simple. So gently lay these in the pan and press down as you do, making sure not to put them too close together, so we'll develop tons of flavor and get a really nice crisp outside, while pulling them out just in time so they don't overcook. These have only been sauteing for about 60 seconds. Now make sure to gently season the second side with salt and pepper as well. And then let's have a look at these beautiful scallops. Just gently turn them over. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? That's why I love scallops. They love the heat. Just make sure that your pan is plenty hot, and you'll get these very same results. So after just another 90 seconds, I'm going to turn the heat off, and these are ready to come out. What I want you to do just before you bring them out is just move them around the pan a little bit. It picks up the last little bit of goodness, and then just gently remove them and set them aside so that they can rest. While the scallops are resting, you can see why we rest. Look at how much liquid is being rendered there. We'll be sure to save that and put that on top for the end. But I'm going to whip up a quick Chipotle mayonnaise. The first step is to, using a food processor, or you can whip this by hand, is to separate the eggs. So I'll take and remove the yolk. We're going to keep that yolk. And the yolk's going to go in. We'll do 2 yolks and begin to incorporate the other ingredients. Dijon mustard in, and then we'll process to combine until it's light and velvety. And start incorporating the canola oil. The Dijon works to emulsify. Depending on how spicy you want the mayonnaise, you can put either 1 or 2 whole chipotles in. Now, just as the mayonnaise finishes up, I want you to give it a squeeze of lemon for brightness. And then we'll just put a little shot of sea salt in there. Close it up, and you'll finish bringing that together. With the mayonnaise prepped, it's time to finish putting this dish together. The thing that I love about asparagus is how quickly they are to prepare. And in this case, saute, maybe this is the fastest way. Maybe you've never thought about this before, but you don't have to blanch asparagus ahead of time. If you do want to blanch them, it's just a simple matter of boiling them in hot, salted water and then making sure to plunge them into an ice bath to stop the cooking. That'll get them bright green and the consistency will be just right. But for saute, all we have to do is first of all find the fresh tip of the asparagus by snapping it. When you find that, you know that that's the woody stem it grew on, and that is the tender, fresh end that you want to cook. So I'm going to finish by prepping that. The one really cool thing about asparagus that you need to know is that they're perennial. And because they're perennial, the plants come back year after year. Up to 18 years they'll continue to produce, so it's a very sustainable crop. The final step and just before service is to saute the asparagus. So a good tablespoon of butter into the pan. Make sure the pan is preheated. You'll get a ton of flavor from that butter. Make sure it's completely melted. Coat the entire bottom of the pan. And then in with the asparagus. We're going to give them a light toss just to coat them with that beautiful butter. And then salt and pepper to finish. Finished up with some nice salty Parmesan cheese. This dish is complete. You have that bright kind of orange tinge to the really nice Chipotle mayonnaise. We've got scallops that are crispy, and then this centerpiece, the asparagus. Asparagus that are available right now in stores and markets all over the province. And for the farmers growing them in these temperatures, if they turn their back on them, they may have to harvest these twice a day. Don't miss Ontario asparagus this year. Make sure to support local and get into your markets and get into some of these recipes.